give them, or to sell them, whatever. Hey, I'm Adam.
I'm Bryan.
Back with an episode of Buds and Suds.
Something looks different.
Yeah, we got a nice lineup here. So, new beer, KBS Espresso, a 12% barrel-aged coffee stout with espresso. So you all know KBS, Kentucky Breakfast Stout. It's a yearly release that comes out, around March or early April, depending on where you're at. This is the 2019, and this is a 12.2% version. So, it's brewed with coffee and chocolate, and then cave-aged in oak bourbon barrels for the entire year. So the difference is the espresso adds in some extra oomph, that's their wording. The espresso beans after being removed from the barrel. So after they barrel age it for a while, throw it in. So basically KBS with espresso. We both had this.
And it does add some oomph.
It adds some oomph. It's really cool. It's really enjoyable. But it's the first time that I've ever seen them release it. I think it's a brand new beer for this variant. So
looking forward to the side by side though.
Very excited to review them side by side. You can check out our early review of KBS 2019. We love to try to do that yearly. So that's going to be on the outside. We're going to start with it because if what we remember is correct, the espresso is going to kind of drown out a lot of the flavor. So let's just start with the 2019 KBS.
I'm about to sip it.
Yeah. We're off our game. Anyway, it's a nice dark color.
We're going to reverse order.
Yeah, we are. You said I'm about to sip it, and I went ahead and decided to toast you. Like, all right. Tan, khaki head.
But you can tell it looks
quarter
thin.
finger, holding the glass. It's always
been my complaint. All right.
Let's get an aroma.
I smell some coffee, just some mild. You have to dig, I think.
Yeah, I get more chocolate.
I would say the same thing. I get more chocolate and maybe some barrel character.
Yeah, but it smells thin, little cool maybe, but it's pretty good. Chocolate, little barrel character, not much coffee.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
So I get coffee, just a very mild coffee up front.
Yeah.
I get chocolate malt and then maybe some barrel character.
Yeah.
But you have to dig, I think, to get the barrel character at this temperature.
I agree. The flavor I got there on the kind of the front of the tongue.
The fridge is broken.
All right,
there we go.
On the front of the tongue was this combo of a nice bitter roasted malt and roasted coffee. Mm-hmm. Where the roasted malt stopped and the coffee began, it's hard to tell. But that's actually the lingering flavor on my tongue right now. As it was going down, I noticed kind of a sweetness of vanilla, kind of that barrel character, chocolate. But now I'm just kind of sitting here on the tongue. It's this bitter, roasty, not acidic or anything bad. It's just a nice bitter roast.
Yeah, I agree. I have nothing else to add except that let's move on. All right. So does it look the same? I've had people ask, is it thicker? I don't.
No.
think it looks any thicker.
The head may be a smidge darker, but it's really tough to tell. I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but just visually, maybe the head's a little darker.
Yeah, let's get that. Okay, it smells like a lot of coffee to me.
Huge coffee.
Yeah, big coffee.
Robust, cold coffee in a glass.
I don't get any peppery notes, which you can get with espresso beans, but especially I think it's green espresso.
Still smells thin. It just has that. It doesn't have a.
But thin, what do you mean? Not very robust?
Yeah, the coffee's robust,
not complex, maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things like what does a strawberry smells like? It smells like a strawberry. It's like when you've tasted thin beer and then you smell them, like you can kind of correlate it. There's just something to an aroma that kind of keys you in on that. Cheers. Cheers.
See, I get
so good.
I get peppery coffee first.
Yeah.
So it tastes like espresso to me.
It does.
It's still, I don't know why, but it tastes a little thicker. I don't know. It
does.
Why.
I agree. I don't think it's temperature. It definitely has a bit of a chewier mouthfeel. The coffee's amazing on this. It's just so robust. Both on the aroma and the flavor. It just has this kind of velvety smoothness to it that was a little bit thicker than regular KBS, I believe.
Yeah, I completely agree. And going back to the regular KBS, I mean, it kind of dwarfs regular KBS. It makes me think that this is what KBS should have always been. And how awesome would it be if they just only produce espresso from this point on? I mean, that would be phenomenal.
It's funny going back to the aroma back on the original KBS.
Yeah,
it smells like a barrel-aged stout. I get vanilla and chocolate, and I just, after my olfactory sense has been bombarded with the espresso in this, there's no more coffee left in that aroma. I'm gonna taste it.
There still is plenty of coffee left in the espresso.
Yeah,
it just smells amazing.
KBS, it's even after that, not a bad beer. It tastes like a good, sweet barrel-aged stout, like a solid barrel-aged stout.
On the sweet side, I wouldn't say too sweet. I mean,
not too sweet for me.
It's not a diabetes. It's not a pastry stout, but it doesn't have, to me, it doesn't have the slight bitterness that you get with a lot of coffee beers after going from this one. But I think it's because it's in comparison.
Yeah. One of the better coffee stouts.
Yeah, I really like it a lot.
Bourbon barrel coffee would be the only one that's going to beat that one.
Yeah, that's good. Now, what about barrel character? Because I feel like I get mostly coffee and, of course, the base beer, the stout behind it. But I don't think it would be as robust or as complex if it wasn't barrel aged.
No, I agree.
But I have to admit, it's kind of hard to tell just because the espresso really is the predominant flavor.
Yeah, if it didn't, like you said, if it didn't have that backbone, that barrel aged backbone, I doubt this beer would be anywhere near as good. Yeah, it has to be present there to be able to support that massive espresso flavor. But as far as picking out individual barrel characteristics, it's not like going through, oakiness or tobacco or vanilla. I think the flavors themselves are masked by the espresso.
Yeah, I think it blends well with the stout, and so it doesn't stand out as the predominant flavor, which is fine because I didn't drink it because it's barrel aged. I got it because of the espresso.
And after cleansing my palate, definitely got some of that booziness, 12%. The coffee kind of hides it pretty well, but it's there, and I think that's part of that barrel. But again, I feel like that's what's holding this beer. That's the foundation of this beer, and without it, it would not be nearly as good, even though the coffee is what you experience. I feel like the barrel character is what that coffee's resting on.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a great stout. I mean, to me, it's a solid 4 or 5, if not 4 or 5 plus. I mean, it's good. I
agree. 4 or 5 for the KBS Espresso. I've ranged on this. I think I've given it a 4 or 5, but it's probably a quarter point less. I'm gonna go 4. But hey, I can go 4.3. I'm gonna go 4.3. 4.5, 4.3, espresso 4.5, and regular 2019 4.3.
Yeah, I agree with the 4.5. I mean, the 4.5 it's a solid. 4.25. That's probably closer to reality. But it's definitely a step below.
Yeah, the people that I've shared this with, it's funny, they all agree this is at least a quarter point better than the regular. So the people that were saying, this is a 4.5, I guess I gotta go 4.75. And one of my buddies goes, I give KBS a 4.75, I guess this is a 5. I was like, I mean, it's all a fun game we play with it, but it doesn't mean anything. But I think in comparison, it is a step above.
Yeah, it is.
The espresso. And another one of my buddies actually said, who's been drinking craft beer longer than I had, said this is what KBS was back in the day. That's coffee bomb. So he was very pleased with it.
Well, like I said, maybe they're just doing a test to see how people like it. But to me, this is the way KBS should taste.
This should be the new.
This is what it should
KBS.
Like. That's right. This should be. They should produce this in as many bottles as they produce that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they should have like a double espresso KBS as the special release. Kaboom!
Espresso vanilla.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Anyway, anything else?
No.
As always, guys. Excuse me. If you can't have the beer you love the beer you have. Thanks.
Love it the second time around.
I couldn't stop.